This is Suburban On Air and Cohen in the City. Here is Mike Cohen.
I want to be able to have some part in telling my own. And an important part of that is to be able to go to my mom's homeland and experience her return for the first time in 50 years.
Well, I never turned down a chance to interview Omar Sachedina. It's my second time interviewing Omar, and got with him a special guest, AJ Cordeiro from Dollar des Ormeaux. And Omar, tell us, why are you and AJ together? You got something very special to announce.
Yeah, well, first of all, Mike, it's so great to be chatting with you again, and I feel the same way. I really do enjoy our discussions every time we speak, and I'm really excited about AJ too. So we launched the Sachedina CTV News Fellowship to give people, recent grads or current journalism students, a chance to showcase an important piece of journalism that resonates with the country. And, of all the applications, we selected 2 last year, and AJ's was one of those applications that immediately popped. I mean, this was somebody who, even though we had not met before at that time, because obviously he was applying, but as part of his application, he had to submit a video application. His handle on the technology, his idea, the fact that he was able to weave together tech and politics and come up with a pitch that took advantage of both those things. It was a story that I knew would resonate with the entire country, and he's got a remarkable sense of passion, of conviction, of tenacity, of wanting to learn, and just bottomless reserves of passion and energy. And his project is really phenomenal. He's done an amazing job, and we're going to be launching that very soon. So it's been a great partnership, and I feel so lucky to have met him and to have worked with him throughout these months.
So AJ, tell us a little bit about yourself. You teach journalism at Concordia. You grew up in Dollar des Ormeaux. Give us a little background.
Well, first off, thank you so much, Mike, for your time. But I have to go back to Omar for a second here. Omar, please let me know when you can come for my next job performance review. I need you for that, because that was the greatest cheerleader moment. And again, compliments also to Omar as well, who's been such a wonderful blessing in this process. So I'm where I work with primarily is at Concordia University. I'm the multimedia instructor in the Department of Journalism. So I handle a lot of the stuff when it comes to the heavy lifting around audio and video work, whether that's capturing it or editing it. And it's a huge part of our process now today. It's not an optional. You can't just do print anymore. It's now a requirement. And Mike, you know this very well with the Mike News Network. You have to do everything. You have to have every hat on. And so that's part of my role is it's very enthusiastic about where journalism is heading. And I think it's been really exciting to see how working over the last few years with students and seeing their passion for journalism, it's also been just so much better for me in this world, because again, a lot of journalism and journalists, sometimes there can be a little bit cynical, and I'm surrounded by a wonderful set of people every year that are coming in that are just excited and passionate to tell impactful stories. And so I'm grateful to be part of this community. My parents were immigrants to Canada in the late 1980s. And I've been born and raised started off in Côte-des-Neiges, and then eventually in Dollar des Ormeaux, and now where I reside in Lachine, which is it's just a wonderful experience to be part of this bilingual community.
Right near my favorite restaurant, Petros Lachine. Yeah,
it's good vibes over there. I'm more of a Gilles Lafritte friend with the Casse-Croûte vibes that are in the area.
Sounds good. So, Omar, how did this start? How did this whole process begin? I don't recall ever seeing another anchor have a kind of a fellowship under their name.
Well, it's something that has been it's something that's been really important to me, and I think AJ touched on this in his answer. I mean, I think that there is a level of cynicism that has been emerging over the past few years, and I know that for the past. For as long as I've been in the industry, first of all, I know that there are many, many, many people who have helped me along the way, who continue to help me to become better, who give me feedback on my work. And I just really felt that I wanted to do that now, or give back. And I had done that informally, but I thought that it would be a great idea to formalize the process somehow and put some, money behind it, and also partner with Massey College. They've got a great network of academics and experts who are helping our fellows with their research, right? So it was something that was always important to me that I'd done for quite some time, and this is an extension of that, doing it on a grander scale. And I think it's also tremendously validating and important to for people to be able to have a platform and an audience for the work that they're doing, right? So the fact that AJ is able to showcase his research, his work on a subject and a topic that is, very timely for every single Canadian, no matter their political stripe, I think is something that is a win-win-win for everybody. It gives us an opportunity as a network to showcase some amazing talent. It gives AJ a chance to show his great work, and the audience is served as a result because they're taking away from his research as well. So everybody benefits from a project and a fellowship like this. But it's not just me. I've had tremendous backing from the network as well to be able to launch this, and I'm very deeply grateful for that as well. And of course, for Massey College's contribution too.
Omar, I know, I know I've spoken in the past to you and others, when you do the CTV National News. I mean, right now, it's not the way it used to be in Lloyd Robertson's days. You're basically on the air hour after hour after hour. It's understandable why you do a 4-day week, but you've got a lot of new faces. There's been a lot of changes and a lot of very good, bright faces who are on the news that we didn't see for many years. We see them every night. Do you mentor them in any way?
Yeah, so we'll frequently have discussions about stories and scripts, and I think that they're all doing a phenomenal job. You're right; the industry has changed; it's adapted, but I think that they are journalists who are doing a tremendous job in terms of filing across multiple platforms, multiple times a day. And that's it really speaks to their ability to be able to multitask and provide content, whether it's on the web, through our national newscasts, through digital, and I'm in awe of what they do every day. So yes, we do have that chance to speak from time to time, and they're doing a great job.
AJ, when I just was casually telling people in the office, guess who I'm going to speak to? And I didn't say AJ Cordeiro, so apologies, but I said Omar Sachedina, and not one person did not know who I was talking about. I mean, everybody knows. I can only imagine what it's like when Omar goes to the grocery store. There's no way you're not recognized by every single person down the aisle, right, Omar?
Mike, that's very flattering of you to say. I can't tell you how grateful I am for our audience and our viewers and people who watch and follow us. And I think one of the deeply meaningful things for me is to be able to meet somebody at the grocery store or the gas station or at a restaurant and share a few words with them. And for me, it's a beautiful exchange of information and stories because it connects me to our audience, right? I want to know what they're thinking. I want to know what they're feeling. I want to know what's resonating. And this informs our own coverage as well. So when people come and say hi, I think it's one of the most beautiful things because I also remember the courage it takes to do that, right? I remember being at a Costco when I was young, and there was a reporter whom I'd followed at a local TV station. And, I was with my dad and we were going through all of the aisles and I'm like, Dad, I really want to say hi. And my dad said, yeah, go say hi. And I'm like, I don't know. Let's just give it one more aisle. Let's just get through the cracker aisle. Then maybe we can meet up with him in the, in the beverage aisle. And then finally, I think, we magically bumped carts and I got to say hello. And for me, it was such a great thing.
AJ, what's it like? I mean, we just heard Omar talking about being recognized. We know he's being recognized everywhere he goes. You're here working in the journalism field, and you have an opportunity to not only meet in person. You met Omar in person last fall, but you're getting to communicate with him on a regular basis. The person who's on the most watched newscast in the country. How does this all feel to you?
Well, I mean, there's just that old adage of like, never meet your heroes. In this case, you should meet Omar. Maybe bump into him in the grocery store, bump your cart, whatever it takes, meet Omar. Because there's the Omar we see on the television screen, on your phone, everywhere in the Bell Media universe. And there's the Omar that is even better, that's in person. And I get to have both. And so whether you're sharing Omar with all the rest of the country during the nightly newscast, I get to have phone call conversations about the next step in my journalism world, the projects that I'm working on. And again, you sometimes are always worried about this. I remember when I was applying for this, I didn't think I would get it. And I'm very grateful to Liz Travers, the former president of the RTDNA, and of course, Omar, for selecting me along with Ruxar. I didn't expect to get into this position, but even more so, I didn't expect to have the same level of like, I would figure like, okay, we'll have a nice photo, and then we'll kind of go on from there and I'll be mentored by somebody else. No, Omar has taken a deep interest into not just the project we're doing, but also my career, has offered advice. He's been absolutely fabulous. And in fact, everyone at the Bell team has been fabulous. Rob Duffy has been fabulous as well with organizing all these kinds of different things. And so I'm really grateful to the team that's here behind us, because it's sometimes you forget that when you're in journalism, there's like a persistence that has to happen and you kind of feel like you're all alone in it. Omar doesn't make you feel like that. He makes you feel like you're part of a team. And whether it's in a phone call, whether it's an email, whether it's just text in our group chat, we're all on the same team, and that's team journalism. And it's really been so fulfilling to be in that space and to grow and learn from Omar.
And a shout out to Liz Travers, who I know very well from her days running the CTV Montreal newsroom. So nice to have that connection. So Omar, what's the end game here? What we'll be seeing from AJ, whose real name, by the way, is Andre Joseph Cordeiro. What are we going to see happen between now and, let's say, when the fellowship ends?
Well, I'll let AJ explain his project, because I don't want to steal from his thunder, but I just want to pick up on what he said. You know, it is an absolute exchange of information. I'm learning as much from AJ as hopefully he's getting from me. But I think, you know, much like yourself, AJ is somebody who is adapting to the new way of doing things, right? Like the fact that you're doing Instagram Reels, and the fact that AJ is able to take one project and one theme and apply that in such an engaging way across all platforms, which he's going to be doing when we launch him, is the way the industry is going. And I think he's really emblematic of the new way and the new style. And it's not an easy thing to do, right? You can have one subject matter or topic, but you have to know your audience across all platforms. So a TV audience in a national newscast will be different from the TikTok audience. Those TikTok shorts are, 30, 40 seconds. You have to be able to pack in a lot of information in a manner that's engaging, informative, entertaining, and give a takeaway to the person who's consuming that. Whereas you may have a little bit more time on another platform. So he's shown a tremendous sophistication and understanding of all these platforms, and also in the drafts that he's come up with for the various outlets. I can already tell that he's thinking of, okay, how will this information resonate with the audience that is consuming on that platform? The project itself, I'm actually gonna turn it over to AJ to explain, but he's basically given us a glimpse of, actually more than a glimpse, actually an in-depth view, I should say, of who is winning the social media game when it comes to the Liberal leadership race. And he can probably tell us a little bit more about how he's been doing that.
This will air just before they pick a new leader. Keep that in mind. Just before.
Exactly.
Go ahead.
So again, it's been such a pleasure to work on this. And again, when we start off on a project, you have to find the focus. And the way that we focused in was on January 7th, we found out the Prime Minister was resigning, and that meant that we're going to need a leadership race in the federal Liberal Party. And so what I pitched to Omar, and Omar helped me shape, and now what's going to come to fruition is that through the partnership with my partner in life, Valerie Brunet, who also helped me with automating a lot of these processes, I've basically scraped a whole bunch of social media posts from Instagram, from Facebook, and from X, formerly known as Twitter. And we're looking at all kinds of different things around that, the times that they were posted, the words that they're using, the sentiment, all this kind of stuff. And we're using some machine learning techniques to go and dive deeper into this aspect. So for example, we can see what kinds of words that candidates use, the kind of topics that they're really focused around, how much engagement they get over things. Mike, you're in the new media universe as well. You know that a video will get a lot more clicks, a lot more taps, and a lot more engagement than traditional text work will. And so you can see that all directly in the research, where if a candidate posts a video on whatever platform, it'll get a higher engagement rate than just a simple text post. And so it's about looking beyond, and the way I kind of look at it is almost like it's a digital MRI of the social media game, because we know social media is important and we know it's a part of the political process. But I think this is now time in this new era to really start looking at the actual platforms themselves. These platforms shape our conversations. They're shaping our political landscape. And so the way that these candidates communicate is, as opposed to in the past where they maybe had stump speeches, rallies, speaking to journalists like ourselves, now they often go directly to their audience, and that audience is on social media. So looking at more in-depthly at what they're doing is going to be super important, I think, for now and the president going into the future. We want to be able to understand how these candidates use these particular technologies, and not just engage their own folks that are into what they're saying, but how to engage a wider audience as well.
Sounds fascinating. And Omar, you're about to get your biggest assignment yet. You let it loose when you interviewed Prince Harry in that fabulous interview a few weeks ago. So you're going to become a dad for the first time. And how's that going to impact when I guess you'll be able to do not the midnight feedings, because you probably only get home at around 1 a.m., but you must be excited.
We'll make it work. You know, my wife and I have been talking about this. She's been immensely supportive, and I think an absolute champion in life, and particularly throughout this pregnancy. I don't know how she's doing it. She's also, working in these final weeks of, before the baby's due. Yes, it's going to be a massive change, but we're not the first parents, and I don't think we'll be the last. I think that there are millions of parents around the world that juggle very busy lives and careers, and are also able to be great parents. We'll figure it out. There's a balance. It's a work in progress. If anybody has any tips, I'm ready to hear them.
That's great. And speaking of mentoring. I know you're now we finally have, since you took over, a stable 4 days a week, Omar, and 3 days a week, Heather Butts. And it used to be, they used to be saying sitting in for Omar every Friday. Now we know who's there, and she's fantastic. You have a really good second in command where, she's, and you have a lot of great people, but I suppose we'll see a little bit more of Heather Butts after the baby's born, right? Possibly.
Yeah. We're still figuring that out, but you're so right. I think Heather is such a special anchor and journalist, and she brings something so unique to the newscast. And more than that, she's just a phenomenal person. She's somebody I'd hang out with even off there as well. She is, and she's very rooted. I mean, a lot of people might not know. I mean, they may know if they follow her on Instagram, but she's, she's a farm girl. She loves chickens. She was over a couple of months ago, and she brought, I think it was, a dozen farm eggs for my wife and I. And
oh boy, they could use those in the United States.
Yeah, I mean, these are the best eggs I've tasted. And also, I have to mention, Mike, Sandy Ronaldo, who of course does the early national news, and she's been such a rock and such an inspiration for me too. I mean, somebody who has been in this industry for this long, but hasn't really forgotten who she is, and is rooted. She's an inspiration. We chat from time to often, in fact, but she has been a tremendous role model. And also, speaking of somebody who's had to juggle family and a tremendous career, she's somebody who's done that, right?
Yeah. And she doesn't age. She does not age.
She does not age. She's she's beautiful back then. She's even more beautiful now. But more than that, she's a beautiful person, right? Who knows what's important in life, and is just not just an anchor on TV, but she's an anchor for so many in the newsroom and industry as well. So I'm extremely fortunate to have such a tremendous team.
Well, AJ, if Omar could mentor anyone, and I'd like him to mentor me on this, he buys and wears the best suits I've ever seen on TV. So for that big red tie, black tie event, you know what? If Omar brings you to the store to get the right suit, he knows what he's picking. I'm sure you've noticed, AJ.
He's exceptionally well put together. Whether it's on air, he's a man that is always looking the sharpest in the room, and it's very obvious. I mean, it doesn't help. It definitely helps that he has a nice head of hair. I have to cover my head with a hat because it's cold up there. But in reality, again, I can take all the fashion advice from Omar.
You don't need any.
I'm more interested in his journalism advice. That's the real world I'm really interested in.
All right. Well, thank you both for joining me on the Suburban On Air. Really appreciate it.
Thank you so much, Mike. Great chatting with you again.
All right. Thank you both.